Ladies and gentlemen, sorry for that little technical hiccup. Hopefully all of you know me. My name is John Ronchetti. I'm the Senior Regional Manager with Dave Lewis. I'm going to speak to you this afternoon along with the other RMs. So we've got Alan Greer, Jay Patel and Rosie McDermott. You might notice I'm not dressed as a cowboy this year. Unfortunately, I've not been permitted. And the reason is because this is a very serious subject that I'm going to talk to you about. I want to talk to you about healthy living pharmacy, why we believe that healthy living pharmacy is the way forward for pharmacy, why Kirit believes it is the way forward for pharmacy, and why we as a team all need to embrace it. I specifically want to talk about what your role is. We've spent a lot of time training the healthy living champions, and a lot of you have started your training, some have completed your training in leadership, but we want to talk how we can put all this into action and actually make a difference. Okay, so a year on, it was actually 12 months ago, virtually 12 months today, that Deborah Evans stood in this very room and introduced Healthy Living Pharmacy to us. She explained how it was trialled in Portsmouth, was tremendously successful. It's been trialled throughout different areas of the UK with similar success, and we agreed that we were going to work closely with Deborah and her comrades in order to try and get it right across our company. Kirit embraced it so much she offered us £50,000 to invest in training people, and I'm glad to say that we have in fact spent most of that money now. So what have we done? What we've done a year later, we have trained Healthy Living champions in virtually all of our branches now. Most of you have at least started your Healthy Living leader training. How many have completed their leader training? So probably about half of you, and I think a lot of you have got training sessions finishing next week. My commitment is actually 100%. But why? Why are we looking at Healthy Living Pharmacy? We're very busy with dispensing. Why are we looking at this now? And what difference is it going to make? I want you to watch this. This is a video. It's a news clip. This gentleman is called Tony Nicholson. He was on the news about 2 or 3 years ago. And when I play this clip, I want you to particularly focus on Mr. Nicholson himself and his reaction.
It's not the end by any means. We've always known that whoever wins, the other side will appeal, and we will definitely be appealing.
Can you tell us why they've challenged you down?
They say basically that it's the Parliament to decide. The judgment is incredibly one-sided. The only points they seem to have addressed are the points put forward by the opposition. All of the points that we put forward have barely been touched upon, so we've definitely got grounds for, we've been told we've got grounds for an appeal.
Any ideas what they're talking about? Tony Nicholson was, prior to this, was a very successful, healthy man. He suffered a massive stroke while on holiday in Spain. At this stage, he's virtually paralysed. He's got locked-in syndrome, so he's perfectly with it, he can't use most of his faculties. And in this case, they're talking about he went to the European courts to challenge the right to assisted suicide. So, can you imagine a previously healthy man, his life has got so bad, so unbearable, not only does he want to kill himself, but his wife wants to help him. It sent a really powerful message to me, because what if we could have done something to stop that happening? What if, within your role, you could have prevented Tony Nicholson having that stroke, and he could still be alive today, living a happy life as a husband, father, an important businessman. He actually died. He actually died by starving himself to death in the end. So, okay. So what is it all about then? What is Healthy Living Pharmacy all about? Is it about the future of pharmacy? We all know that pharmacy's got to change. It can't stay the same. We've spoken today about the fact we have to move on from being a delivery of product. Could it be the survival of pharmacy? Could that pharmacy itself actually be at risk? It could be the survival of the NHS, because the NHS is running out of money. The NHS pharmacy can't keep doing what it's doing at the moment, because eventually it will just grind to a bitter halt. So we know we've got to change the way we do things. And why now? Because now is when it's necessary. It's a call to action. Everybody in the NHS is being asked, we need you to change now, and do it before it's too late. Okay. Let's look at the current life cycle of an average person. So most of us are born 100% healthy. I don't know how I got 120% on there. I don't believe anybody actually gets to 120% health. But let's assume we're all born at 100% healthy, and we remain fairly healthy for the early part of our life. And then at some stage, something happens. It could be there's an underlying condition, it could be hereditary, it could just be the way that we live our lives, but something happens that makes our health start to decline. And it will continue to decline as we get older and older, until eventually we reach the end. Okay? And that's that period of decline, and how quickly it happens, it varies from person to person. It can be a reasonably short amount of time, it can stretch over the large part of somebody's life. And there's several problems with this. The big problem is it ain't much fun. So the people who have to go through this, so Mr. Nicholson, for example, he wasn't having much fun at all. He had Lupton syndrome. Doesn't have to be as serious as that. It could just be that you're suffering from diabetes or a condition that just makes your life a little less fun than it needs to be. It also tends to eventually, at some stage, involve secondary care and tertiary care, which is a problem in itself because you all know we're running out of hotel beds, we're running out of hospital beds. We're on a hotel. So we're running out of hospital beds. Doctors, nurses are stretched to the limit, and we all know that the NHS is starting to split. And that's the other reason, is financially, all of these things cost a lot of money. So, big problem. Question for you. Anybody have any idea how much the NHS spends on medicine every year? Shout out? No clue, no ideas? A billion? 3 billion? 20 billion? We don't really know, do we? It's actually £8.6 billion a year is spent on medicine each year, which is a phenomenal amount of money, but that's the way it is. And that figure is likely to go up, because obviously more people are taking more medicines. But the next question is, how much does it then cost to deliver that medicine to the patient?
2 billion.
2 billion.
2 billion, not bad guess. It actually cost 2.6 billion. So on top of the 8.6 billion, the NHS is spending another 2.6 billion to be able to give that medicine out. So are they getting value for money? That's the big question. We could say we don't care, because at the end of the day, only pharmacy can hand out prescriptions. Nobody else is legally allowed to do it, which is very much a bury your head in the sand response. But DHL, the courier company, they actually put an unrequested tender into the NHS to say that they would deliver everybody's medication through their door every month with no need to ever see a pharmacist or a doctor, which means very, very efficient, save lots of money, but it means your average person would never ever see a clinician. Richard Branson has set up Virgin Health, and we all know that Richard Branson, if he wants to do something, generally manages to do it. Virgin Health is already working very closely with a number of the health organisations around the UK in an effort to try and get his hands on prescribing. And then there's 3 letters which send a shudder down my spine, and those 3 letters are AQP. Does anybody know what AQP means? Any qualified provider, which basically means anybody, as long as they can prove that they can do our job safely, then they'll be allowed to tender for it. So don't deny for a second that the pharmacy is at risk. You have to accept we're in a very dangerous situation, and to carry on doing what we're doing blindly will lead to eventually the end of pharmacy as a profession. That's how big the risk is. But the risk is only there if we let it happen. So if we do something now, if we change the way that we behave now, then we can actually make a difference and bring pharmacy to the forefront of primary care rather than disappearing into history. Let me introduce you now to what's known as the square end of life. I apologise to some of my pharmacists, I know that I talk about this quite a lot, but this is something which is very, very important to the future of pharmacy. Let's go back to our model. So this is the model of the life of an average person. Wouldn't it be great if instead of when we get to that downward plunge, actually we can take some sort of action, so that rather than the health decaying very rapidly, it stays more or less where it should be. It stays roughly at 100%. Wouldn't it be great if it stayed like that for most of your lives, for most of your life? Okay, so we're all living a long, happy life, and then you die. Unfortunately, we can't get around the fact that we're going to die, and it would probably be fairly disastrous for the economy if we did manage to find a cure for it. However, the square end of life, you can see why it's called the square end of life, offers three great advantages. One, you remain much more happy, much more active for the bulk of your life. Two, you're not going to get hospitalised. The chances are you'll be able to spend your life in your own home, and it's going to free up medical resources for more serious conditions. And thirdly, it saves money. So it means the NHS can afford to continue using pharmacy. So how can pharmacy add value? How can pharmacy make that difference? This is the question. First of all, medicine optimisation. We can add value by making sure that medicine is used as it's intended to. I've had a discussion quite a lot with my pharmacists on the basis of when somebody comes in to collect their medicine, do they pay for it? They might pay a small contribution towards it, but as a general rule it's paid for by the taxpayer and by the NHS. So the taxpayer and the NHS has the right to make sure that that medicine is being used correctly. It's not the right of the person who's been getting the medicine for nothing to say, I'm not interested in your advice, because they're not paying for it. And it's vitally important that you get that mind thought in your head. They haven't got the right not to get the knowledge to use that medicine correctly. Save waste medicine almost follows on automatically from medicine optimisation. We can educate the patients so the patients make the best choice. Choice is a big thing in the NHS now. It's the patient being able to choose how they're treated, but they can only choose the correct way to be treated if they have the correct information. Signposting. We don't know everything. Nobody knows everything. So it's knowing the right time to say, actually, I need to point you on to somebody else. Prevention. If we can keep people on that 100% line and prevent them from getting ill, that's much better than trying to cure them. Reduce hospitalisation and help people in the community feel better and stay healthy. Does anybody recognise that one? It's our core purpose. It's the reason that we say as a company, Day Lewis, is the reason we say we do what we do. And it absolutely fits into the healthy living pharmacy concept. Okay, so back to our square end of life. How can we actually make the square end of life happen? So, presumably, at some stage, we're going to have a diagnosis of a condition of some sort. Could be hypertension, could be all sorts. For whatever reason, we're not feeling well, we've gone to the doctors, and the doctors have now prescribed us medicine. The role of the pharmacist, the role of yourselves, is then to explain the condition to the patient, because doctors very rarely explain the condition. We actually have one patient in an MUR who was being treated for diabetes, and when they had the MUR, the doctor hadn't actually told them they had diabetes. They'd just given them the medicine. They had absolutely no idea. Also explain how and why the medicine should be used and why it should be taken at the correct time. Then we can recheck it. You can recheck it. Make sure that the patient understands 100%. Most people stop taking their medicine in the first 30 days. So during that period, you continuously talk to the patient and make sure that they've got an absolute clear understanding of why they're taking it. Then the chances are they're going to continue taking it. And then revisit regularly. Let's say every 12 months, for example. Revisit and make sure that they continue to understand, they continue to be compliant. Do those interactions, do those remind you of anything particularly? You didn't think we'd have a conference without mentioning this, did you? So that's medicine optimisation by the use of MUR and NMS. So that's making sure that people are getting their medicine, they understand what it's for, and they're likely to continue taking it. That's it. That's all you have to do. You're making sure their medicine is being taken correctly. No, it's not. Because medicine isn't the entire answer. Medicine will only prolong the inevitable. So yes, we want them to take the medicine correctly, and we can help them stay healthy, but there's a piece of the puzzle missing, because eventually people will still go down that slippery slope. So to develop the square end of life, we need to change the way that people behave. We need to get them to make different decisions. And that's why we need to become a Day Lewis Healthy Living Pharmacy. Hopefully, all of our pharmacies will soon be accredited with this badge, which is saying that we, as a company, recognise the importance of giving people healthy lifestyle advice. And going back to our square end of life model, you've now got your medicine optimisation, and then you're going to have regular visits, regular advice being given by not just yourselves, but the advice will mainly come from your council staff and your dispensers. And that's what we've been training the Healthy Living Champions to do in your pharmacies. They're being trained to give opportunistic advice to patients, to customers, and it may well be that they haven't actually asked for it, because a lot of patients won't come in and ask for advice, but that doesn't mean that they don't need it. So a Day Lewis Healthy Living Pharmacy, what's it look like? A Day Lewis Healthy Living Pharmacy will provide excellent advice on how to get the most out of medication. They'll make sure every customer has the knowledge and support to choose a healthier lifestyle, and it's the choice that's important. If you try to tell somebody what to do, they won't do it. If you get them to choose to do it, they're much more likely to stand by it. Make every contact count, so every time one of your customers comes into a pharmacy, if you just sow a little seed in their head of little ways, little changes they can make to make their lifestyle a bit healthier, they're not going to change like that. They're not going to suddenly say, oh, thank you, you saved my life. But over time, that seed's going to grow, and eventually they're going to make differences to their own life, and probably other people around them. What it also means is that you'll get much more respect, particularly your team will get much more respect from your customers, because they're not coming in and just picking up a prescription, as was their perception before. They're coming in and they're getting the ultimate thing, they're getting knowledge. And if you count how many years worth of knowledge in each of your pharmacies, just work out how many years each person has worked in a pharmacy. I think in one of our pharmacies we worked out that there was 108 years of expert advice hidden up there that we could share. Just yourselves, how long have you been pharmacists for? How much experience have you got? And how much of that experience do you share with your customers when you hand out a package? Not a lot, but if you start engaging with them, it's going to make a big difference. And because you make a difference to the individual, you make a difference to their family, you'll also make a difference to the community. Imagine if Tony Nicholson hadn't had that stroke because he'd been given the right medication at the right time. He'd still be alive, he'd still be there with his family, he'd still be able to be a working man. So a Day Lewis Healthy Living Pharmacy is going to be an absolutely vital part of the patient pathway, and it absolutely adds value to the NHS. That £2.6 billion, if we can use if we can use what we've got to keep people out of hospital, to get people onto that square end of life, £2.6 billion is a snip, and there's no way anybody will be able to compete with us because you're the ones with the knowledge. Okay, I'd like you to watch this.
Power on there, Robbie.
Hello? Ravi, thank you.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. I'm just a typical customer. I'm a husband, I'm a father for 2 children. I take a couple of glasses of wine a day, maybe the odd bottle of beer. I smoked since I was 16. I'm a little overweight, as you can see. Yeah. I also, I'm very busy, and I don't have much time for exercise anymore in my job, because I'm very, very busy within my job. I probably like a healthier lifestyle, but I need someone to explain the risks and motivate me to change.
Well, I'm a bad pharmacist, so my job is to cure you when you get ill by giving you the medicine that your GP prescribes. If you want to drink too much, if you want to smoke, if you're overweight, it's not really my problem, it's your choice.
I'm a good pharmacist. My team and I engage with our customers. We ask questions so we understand our customers and give them advice on the risks of unhealthy living. We give support and information to help people choose a healthier lifestyle. We use all sorts of ways to get messages across to our patients, including availability of information and impactful displays. We even reach out to people in the community who are not our customers yet. We help prevent people developing long-term conditions by making every contact count.
Believe it or not, in the last 3 or 4 minutes, I have now developed a serious health problem. But truthfully, as it's Big Alan, I don't really want to be bothered going to the doctors because I don't really know what I'm going to do next. And I don't know who to turn to. Who do I turn to?
Well, I'm a bad pharmacist, so I'm here to handle your medication that the GP prescribes. If you've got a problem, go to the doctor, it's not really my issue.
I'm a good pharmacist. I listen to my customers and ask appropriate questions. I make sure my customers feel comfortable talking to me and my team. We can offer advice and signpost customers to correct advisors. I make sure my entire team are trained and motivated to offer this support.
Well, I've now been to the doctor. I've now been diagnosed with a long-term condition. I don't have a clue what it means. I don't really feel comfortable questioning the doctor. I'll just do as told.
Well, I'm too busy dispensing your prescription to give you any advice. If you've got any issues, take it to the GP.
I listen to my patients' concerns and give them information on the condition, what effects it might have and what they can do to control the condition. I may signpost them to support groups.
Well, I'm lucky because I've been prescribed loads of tablets to help me, but I don't have a clue what they do. And I don't feel comfortable asking the old doctor, so I thought it'd be okay, I'd just check them up on the internet, have a quick look there and see if I can get off that. I think that's the best way forward for me.
Yeah, absolutely right. We read the internet and there's leaflets in the box. Have a look at those as well. I'm too busy to get any more than that.
I take a few minutes to explain what each medicine is for and how it should be taken. I also warn them of possible side effects, along with the risk of not taking the medicine correctly, including possible interactions with other prescribed and non-prescribed medicine. I make sure that they have a good understanding and let them make the choice. I contact them again over the coming weeks just to check everything's okay.
I started taking all these new medicines, but really, I don't feel any better. In fact, I feel a little bit worse. I'm thinking about stopping them altogether.
Well, take your problem to the person who's been paid to solve the problem, which is the GP. I'm just here to distribute what he gives me to give to you.
I contact my customers and discuss the side effects and the long-term benefits of taking the medicine and the problems that may be caused by deterioration of the condition if not controlled. My customer feels better understanding what is happening and continues to take their medicine correctly.
Well, believe it or not, I'm now taking my medication correctly. And although it might slow down the deterioration of my condition, I know it'll only get worse eventually. So is there anything else I can actually do?
Well, I've given you your medication. What more do you expect me to do?
I'm a good pharmacist. I continue to check that my patient is using their medicine properly and will work with their GP if a particular treatment is no longer appropriate. My team will continue to give advice on how small changes in lifestyle choices can benefit the condition and prevent other problems and conditions.
Well, I'm a bad pharmacist. So how does my customer feel?
Well, truthfully, I don't feel valued, I don't feel loved. I'm told what to do and I don't really understand why. I feel confused, actually. I'm not in control. I'll probably end up being 50% of the hospitalised patients that are not taking the prescription medicines properly. My local pharmacy team just give out the tablets like they always have. I might as well get them on the internet in the future, I think. Buy them online.
I'm a good pharmacist. How does my customer feel?
I feel like a new person that understands my condition and why I'm taking my medication. I feel like an equal partner in my treatment. I am in control, and I'm very likely to be fully compliant. I have a great respect for my pharmacy team, value their knowledge and support. They give me good advice and help me choose a healthier lifestyle. I will always remain loyal to my good pharmacy team. Thank you.
Okay, a bit of fun there, but the question you have to ask yourself is, are you a good pharmacist, or are you a bad pharmacist, or are you somewhere in the middle? Because the more towards the good pharmacist you're going to be, the healthier the future of pharmacy looks. So where are we now? Where are we at this moment in time? So we've said we've trained healthy living champions in most of our pharmacies. Has anybody not got a healthy living champion yet? Okay, the few that haven't, we will get around to very soon. The Healthy Living Champions, I was very privileged to train about 50 Healthy Living Champions, and they are full of energy, they're full of great ideas, they really are on fire. They believe in healthy living pharmacies, they believe that it can make a difference, and they see how their role can make a difference to people's future. They want to make a difference. So here's a few examples of after the training, what they've done to try and educate our customers. So an impactful display to help engage the customers. Quite hard to tell somebody to give up smoking, but if they're looking at your display, then there's an opening point for you to start talking to them. Could be little things. Could be drinking on the job. could be wearing badges, just a few badges, just little things like that make a difference. Could it be cross-dressing? Listen to the customer. Listening is very important. We have a tendency, doctors certainly have a tendency to dictate to customers. Listen to the customers. What do they want? What do they want to get out of their interaction with you? Educate the customers. Again, all sorts of ways that you can display and get information across to people on a very regular basis. And I think Tim Wendell this morning spoke about this unit, which is going to be going into all of our pharmacies. I hope you will have a chance to have a look at it in the show tomorrow. Reach out to the customers, because the customers some of the customers that need our help aren't necessarily going to walk into your branch yet. They will do once they realise the services we can offer. Get out there on the street, get displays out. That's a hell of an injection, isn't it?
Simon Moore joins us now. He's a community pharmacist in Colchester. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ellie.
So all pharmacists are being asked to pick out people with persistent problems and urge them to see their GP. Do you think that's your role anyway? Isn't that what you already would do?
Yes, we do. I mean, we obviously see a lot of people every day who don't want to bother the doctor. So these are the sort of people we're seeing every day, and obviously some of those need referral back to the GPs, and that's when we come in, that's where our service comes into play.
Because we're always told, aren't we, with coughs and coughs.
That was Simon Moore on Radio 5. What a great way to reach out to customers and to get onto a national radio programme. You don't have to do it as big as that. You can do it at a local school, at your local fair, at the WI meetings. There's all sorts of ways that you can reach out to the customer and let them know what you can offer. So where next? We've got the Healthy Living Champions. The Healthy Living Champions need you. Why do they need you? Because they need leadership. We all need leadership to be successful. And what I'm going to show you now is a few of history's great leaders. Now don't get me wrong, you don't have to agree with what these people did. In fact, some of them are very bad people indeed. But what you can't argue with is the fact that they managed to get lots and lots of people to follow them. What a shame Kevin isn't here. They need your leadership, and with their enthusiasm and your leadership, we can make a difference, and we must make a difference. And when we leave here after this weekend, I need everybody to go away with a different mindset. We can't go back and do the same things we were doing yesterday. We have to start doing things differently. Why do we need to educate people? Okay, so here's an example of why what many people hold as a truth is not truth at all. So I've got 10 statements here. These are all very well-known facts. Some of them are true, and some of them are not true. Okay, you make your mind up. This is definitely true. In 2013, a viral message claimed that coughing in children could be stopped 100% of the time by applying Vicks Vapor Rub to the bottom of their feet. That was a viral message which people all around the world believed. Okay, question. Great Wall of China is the only man-made object visible to the naked eye from outer space. True or false? True. All bats are blind and so use echolocation to navigate.
True.
Very different opinions here.
True.
Different parts of the tongue recognise different tastes. If you drop a penny off the Eiffel Tower, it can kill someone.
Desensitization.
Deoxygenated blood is blue. I was hoping you get that one right, or I was a bit sad. Chameleons change colour to merge with their surroundings. Handling toads can give you warts. Stress is the major cause of high blood pressure. Lightning doesn't strike twice. Goldfish have a memory of just 3 seconds.
Can't remember.
Who said they're all false?
No, definitely all false, I guarantee it.
100%. Every single one of those is a popular urban legend, but they're all absolutely false. The Great Wall of China can't be seen from space. No man-made object can. All bats can see. They use echolocation to fly in the dark. They've only just this year discovered that when they've been teaching you all through school that the tongue has different areas. It's absolute bollocks. Apparently the entire surface of the tongue is exactly the same. Dropping a penny off the Eiffel Tower, it will only reach a maximum of 50 miles an hour, not enough to kill somebody, wouldn't even give you a headache. Deoxygenated blood is blue, no of course not, it's dark red, but it looks blue through the skin. Chameleons change colour to merge with their surroundings? Afraid not. They use colour to communicate with each other. Handling toads can give you warts, untrue. The warts are spread by a virus which toads can't actually carry. Stress is the major cause of high blood pressure. Stress only causes temporary increase in blood pressure, not permanent. Lightning doesn't strike twice. The Empire State Building is struck 100 times every year. And goldfish have a memory of just 3 seconds. In fact, they've now proved they have a memory of at least 3 months. I don't know how they proved it, but for the questionnaire perhaps. The point of this is, it's very easy for people to get complete rubbish into their minds. And this includes about medication, it includes about what is good and bad for their health. A lot of people who, for example, drink a lot, smoke, this sort of thing, will have changed their own mindset to convince themselves that it's not bad for them. Some of them know it's bad for them, but they will try and hide it from themselves. And certainly things like lack of exercise, people will use "I'm too busy" as a reason, and that's okay. So, between us, very educated people in the room, you can see how you can be hoodwinked fairly easily, and this is why it's important that the real message gets out to the patients. So here are some true facts. The fact is, the world, the NHS, pharmacy is changing. Change can be a threat, or change can be an opportunity. We have the opportunity to make a difference. But to make a difference, pharmacy has to change. For pharmacy to change, the behaviour of pharmacy teams has to change. And for pharmacy teams to change, pharmacy leaders have to change. And guess what? You are the leaders. So you are the people who can make a difference, because you can lead your teams so that they take on board this healthy living pharmacy concept completely. And by doing so, they'll start engaging the customers, they'll start giving excellent advice, the customers will respect your pharmacy, 2.6 billion will be a SNP, and pharmacy will come to the forefront of primary care. That's how important it is. Or we can go the other way, in which case there's a risk of pharmacy not existing. Here's some questions for you. What makes a strong leader? What all those people we looked at, good or bad, what made them strong leaders? What made people want to follow them?
Done.
We could give you all weapons, I suppose. How can healthy living pharmacy make a difference? What will you do differently next week, after this weekend? How will you do something different in your pharmacy, so you're not just going back to the same role? Why are MURs and NMS so important? Can you think of an occasion where some of your team have done that's made a real difference to people in your pharmacy, to your customers? It maybe saved a life, It maybe just made them have a change of mindset, which had a knock-on effect years later. I'm just going to ask you to talk about it amongst yourselves, people to your left and right, and then in a few minutes the RMs will be walking around with a roaming mic and they will be pouncing on you to ask your opinion. So we'll just for about 5 minutes if you just want to discuss those questions amongst yourselves, and then we'll come back to it. Okay, ladies and gents, I know that wasn't quite 5 minutes, but the quicker we are, the quicker we get your coffee. So, I've got the regional managers are now moving around the room like piranhas, about to jump on you. So, question, what makes a strong leader? What's the characteristics of a strong leader? Who wants to give us the first answer?
Strong convictions.
Convictions?
Charisma.
Charisma?
Motivators.
Motivators?
Vision.
Visionary?
Time management.
A moral compass.
Time management? Don't talk it though.
That was vision.
Confidence.
Taking risks.
Respect.
Taking risks, yes.
Patience.
Understanding your team.
By example.
Out of the box thinking, understanding your team,
One more here.
organised. George?
We say confidence.
Leading by example.
Leading by example.
Good listener.
We've got self-belief over here.
Self-belief, absolutely. And believing in the cause. You've got to believe in the cause. Rosie?
Hello. The leader should be prepared to die. Yes, they say
Are you volunteering, Bernard?
oh yes. The saying says a man who is not prepared to die for the beliefs he believes in, then his life is not worth living.
Thanks for that, Bernard.
Thank you.
Bernard always brings a little bit.
I want to get a camera on please. That's a good Okay. That's pretty much the words that you shouted out to us. Authoritative, motivational, encouraging, focused. All of these things are vital for a strong leader. Now, if you look at all those words, how many of them describe the way you behave? Because all of these words are actually choices. They're not things that you're born with. You can choose to be focused or you can choose not to be. You can choose to be authoritative, you can choose not to be. So you have the opportunity now, over this weekend, to think about these words and think, when I go back, I'm going to change the way that I behave and I'm going to try and encompass all of these things. You won't manage it 100% of the time, nobody ever does. But if you can do it 50% of the time and then 60% of the time, then you will inspire your teams, you will motivate them, you'll educate them, you'll challenge them, and they will rise to the challenge. I promise you, the Healthy Living champions are absolutely on fire. They want to rise to the challenge, and all they need is your leadership. So please focus on those words. There was a few other questions. So how can a Healthy Living pharmacy make a difference? Any volunteers?
Expose our pharmacy to the world.
Oh, sorry, I missed that.
Expose our pharmacy to the world.
Expose the pharmacy to the world.
To the community.
Absolutely. Prior to Healthy Living Pharmacy, people didn't even realise that pharmacy was part of the NHS. Were you aware of that? People thought that all pharmacies were for was giving out prescriptions. So by showing the amount of knowledge that you've got and sharing it with them and making a difference, sowing that seed, you're not going to change the world all at once, but sowing that seed in a few heads, in a few minds, so that they make a difference over the next few months, That will then spread onto other people they know, and eventually you can change a whole community. Anybody else? Healthy Living Pharmacy?
Improves the trust of people.
Improve the trust, absolutely. Because they will realise how much knowledge you have, they will start to trust you much more. And as the NHS progresses, that means there's going to be more difference still.
Potentially long-term improving life expectancy.
Improving life expectancy, and more importantly than that is the quality of that life. So people are getting that squaring of life.
Don't be restricted to doing things inside pharmacies. Go out into the community and actually...
Absolutely, reaching out is what it's all about. This lady at the front, Jo.
When they come to the pharmacy for the advice, so it's more probably that they will bring their prescription and business.
Absolutely.
On their own
We don't get paid for the Healthy Living Pharmacy concept, but by getting the loyalty of the customer, then they're going to start using you as a pharmacy.
Educate people about health and remove all the myths and what tales.
Absolutely. Same as chameleons. It's getting rid of the myths and getting the truth out there.
Improving job satisfaction.
Absolutely. As a pharmacist, I would be much happier giving advice and giving out tablets.
Allowing HLP to be the precursor to other services that might be coming through the community through CCGs and public health.
Because the more the customer believes you're knowledgeable, the more they believe that you care about them and you've got an interest in their health, the more likely they are to come to you for any service. It makes them trust you more.
Developing awareness with other professionals so they know what we're capable of doing as well.
Absolutely, and breaking down the barriers. So, for example, the barrier between GPs and pharmacies still exists to this day. But if we start to make a difference to their patients, so their jobs become easier because their patients are staying healthier, it's got to be a good thing because then they're going to start referring patients to you to try and share that advice. George?
Getting other members of the team involved in the HLP program.
Absolutely. The more people we get involved in this can't be done by one person, it's got to be a team effort. So you have to get every single person in your pharmacy engaged in it, behind it, and if they don't want to, then they're in the wrong job. Okay, moving on to the next question. What will you do differently? When you go back to your pharmacies next week, what will you do differently? It's a tricky one to answer now probably, because we're on the spot bit there. But what I want you to do is think about that over the rest of the weekend, and by tomorrow lunchtime, when we're all getting ready to leave, just bring that question back to your head. Have I thought of something way I'm going to behave differently next week so that my staff see a difference in my behaviour because they're going to see me as a leader who wants to change the way we do things? Why are MUR and NMS important? We do get paid for it, absolutely. And the money that we're being paid for isn't new money, it's money that's been taken off us elsewhere. But apart from the money, why is it important?
It's the future. That's the way it's going to go.
It's the future, it's educating the customer, it's winning their trust. The square end of life won't have 50% of hospitalisation. 50% of that hospitalisation is caused by people, in part, not taking their prescription medicine properly. 50%. So if you can reduce hospitalisation by 50%, that 2.6 billion, that's an absolute bargain. Does anybody want to give me an example of where their team has made a real difference in the last months? Paul?
We had an issue with anticoagulation services, where we are in Cambridgeshire is heavily fragmented, and we had an issue where, because we were intervening and actually asking to see anticoagulation results, we've identified a patient where he was going to one hospital to have the blood test taken. The results were being phoned through to a second hospital further away for an assessment. The dose was then phoned through to his sister-in-law because he was illiterate, and then the circle was never closed regularly. She never contacted him, she didn't update him, his book was never filled in. And obviously, because we identified this, the local GP were completely unaware. They were receiving no notification from the anticoagulant service.
It's interesting about the GP because people, this is what we were trying to highlight in the little sketch earlier, people don't actually like talking to their GPs, and they certainly don't like telling them the truth. But they feel quite comfortable when they come into your pharmacy. You often hear your pharmacy staff chatting to them about holidays and dogs and things like that, which is fine because it means that they've got a very good relationship with them. But then they can use that trust to start sneaking in advice and information that they need. Okay. Oops. We are going on a journey. Okay? No doubt about it. Kirit has embraced the whole concept of healthy living pharmacy. I'm 100% behind it. IRM's 100% behind it. We're absolutely determined we're going to make this work. So, as a strategy, Day Lewis have decided, and Kirit has decided, we are going to go on that journey. Okay? What if you choose not to join? What if you decide you don't want to go on the journey with us? Okay? You can choose to join us and make a difference, that'd be great, or you can choose not to, but it means you will be left behind. Because Day Lewis has to go on this journey. If we don't go on the journey, pharmacy could cease to exist. Okay? You might think I'm being a bit dramatic when I say pharmacy might cease to exist. Who would have thought 10 years ago that there'd be very few bookshops on the high street? When's the last time you booked a holiday? Did you go to a travel agent or did you do it online?
Online.
Yeah? EPS is coming. So prescriptions are going to become electronic. And if we don't change, if we don't add value, if we don't make a difference to what we do in the day-to-day, if we can't introduce that square end of life so that the NHS thinks that our 2.6 billion is absolutely worthwhile, then we can face a similar future. And as a final reminder, I'd just like you to have a look at a few names. Huge names, whole industry's gone, and that's what you have to remember. So we're going to break for coffee now, and toilet break. I believe you have to be back in at 5:30, isn't it? But might be something to talk about when you're having your coffee, is do we want to end up like this? Okay? Thank you very much.